All right, good morning, everyone. If everyone can take seats and we'll go ahead and get started.
You only see him transferring one way. You ever notice that? Yeah.
All right, welcome to the Special Events Committee meeting today on March 23rd. Just a couple of quick reminders. We are live streaming. It is a public meeting. So a couple of things. One, still make sure to use your mics, even though we can all see each other's faces now. The system needs to be able to do that, to pick that up. So that includes event presenters, would be really helpful. Thank you. And it is a public meeting, so please watch your P's and Q's. Don't say anything you wouldn't want your grandmother to hear. And with that, we'll do a round of introductions. I'm Maria Wade with the Office of Community Engagement here at the City of Boise, and we'll start with ACHD.
John Watson, Ada County Highway District.
Debbie White, Ada County Highway District.
Conrad McDaniel, Republic Services.
Vince Vergara, City Boise Parking.
Leslie Pedroza, Valley Regional Transit.
Sydney Murphy, City Risk Management.
Summer Altieri, Boise Parks and Rec.
Andre Womack, Downtown Boise Association.
Jesse Tappert, Boise Fire.
Jeff Nia, Boise Police.
Matthew Konvalenko, Boise Police.
Kelly Frank, City Clerk's Office.
And I think online we have Ed, are you there?
Hi, morning. Yep, Ed Graves, Public Works.
And Cameo?
Yep, Cameo Aikens, Ada County Paramedics.
Terrific. Did I miss anybody from the special events team that we have online? Great, we'll go ahead and get started. I'm happy to welcome back. Hi, Janelle, Capital City Public Market. It looks like we're going to be back downtown this year.
Yes, we're very excited. Very excited. All right. I'll wait for my presentation. I'm Janelle Miles. I'm the president of the board of directors for the Capital City Public Market. We're excited to come back this year. We have a few changes in our location. Normally we're 10th in Idaho, but with some construction downtown with ACHD and State Street, we are moving to the Grove this year. So the Grove is our normal location for the holiday market. And this year it's going to be our permanent location for the whole year, kind of like back in the good old days when we first started the market in the 90s and early 2000s. So I think with my presentation. Okay. All right.
Just a caveat, it's not just ACHD's construction. There's some construction from CCDC for the Streetscapes project on Bannock.
It's okay. We're excited to be downtown and to be as close to downtown as possible and be able to start in April. So those are two things we haven't been able to do in the last 2 years. So those are super exciting things for us. Just to start out, we'll just do a little bit of intro. We'll go through the footprint and the layout. And then most of it is the layout talk and all the things that go along with the application. And then we'll just wrap up for the discussion. So the Capital City Market started in 1994. We're a 501c6. This year, our event dates are April 16th through December 17th, 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Capital City is the event organization, and then myself, Janelle Miles, I'm the organizer. So here's our dates. 9:30 to 1:30 is our normal time. And then after Halloween, that weekend is when we switch to the holiday hours, which is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Just for more light in the morning. And then people get out a little later in the day when it's colder. Our estimated attendance is downtown. We're normally around 10 to 15,000 people based on our random market assessments that we've done in past years. With the Grove, this is a little different. So we're estimating about 8 to 10,000 people for the Grove, just with the offset location. We'll see how that goes and if that's accurate, but I think we're pretty close to the estimate on the attendance. We have 36 Saturdays total. Our operation hours, we get there about 6 a.m. and then we're totally cleared off the Grove by 3 p.m. So these are just a list of some of the businesses that we have here at the market. So you guys get a little visual of how many businesses we have. I had this slide last year, but I decided to include it again. Just benefits to Boise and benefits to the community, which I think you guys are all aware of. So the Grove Plaza, this is our layout. And so we've been working with the Grove management team. I think he's here today. So if you guys have questions for him, you can help out too. So this is very close to the layout that we'll have. We have a few questions about the South Spoke, but this is very similar to our holiday market setup with the addition of the diagonal spoke that goes into the Wells Fargo building. So that's kind of a new piece. And then the South Spoke is newer. We haven't usually put booths on the South Spoke. We're just trying to utilize as much space as possible. This map has about 65 booth spaces on there. The Groves map has 59, with the South Spoke being in question, which could bring us up to about 65 booths. So we'll start with a few of the special application things. We got trash and recycling. So we have plenty of trash bins. We have enough trash bins to span 2 city blocks. So I think we're going to have plenty for the Grove Plaza. And then we do have 5 of the yellow recycle bins for trash and recycling with Ed. And then we also have all the signage for the recycling to go along with it. Our dumpster, we're going to keep it in the same location that we had it last year, just because it's so tight around the Grove Plaza and everywhere down 8th Street. So we're going to cart our trash over to 10th Street where our dumpster is there. And then we also have a recycling dumpster there through our office building. On the ADA restrooms, there's 2 on site at the Grove Plaza that are there and ready to go. Those have always been sufficient for our holiday markets, having those 2 restrooms. So what we're going to do is add in a couple additional porta potties, 2 to 3 porta potties in May, June, July, when we're at the height of the market, August as well. And then September is when it starts to, attendance goes down again. It's kind of like that bell curve where we get really busy June, July, August, and then it kind of drops off again in November, December. So that's our plan with the porta potties. These are the layouts provided by the Grove management, and they have, theirs is down to the actual foot in the space. So they provided us with both the graphic and then the layout on the street. So the green booths are 65, and then with the red ones, there's 6 there. On my map, I have 12, so that's kind of up to police if they decide they want to use that spoke for entrance, or if they want to use the west spoke, which we can talk about more in just a little bit. So this is our loading and unloading maps. Generally, our holiday market had about 45 to 55 attendees. And this map with 59, what we're going to be doing is staggering arrival times for the loading and unloading. So the first on is going to be the red booths. They'll be the first to arrive. Those are the trailers and the people that take a little longer to set up. And then in the yellow will be our second arrival group. And then in the green are really fast people that come in and can set up really quickly and get out of there. So that way there's enough space for cars to come around, for people to unload onto the Grove. And let's see. Yeah. So we enter from 9th Street is how we usually load onto the Grove. We have 3 parking spaces that we have allotted, and we'll be hooding them. And those parking spaces are more for a queue for our cars to kind of come down 9th Street, queue up in those parking spots and wait for entry onto the Grove. They enter onto the Grove and then they unload their items on the Grove. They don't do any unloading on 9th Street itself. It's just more to park in those spots and then get onto the Grove from the west spoke. Here I have the total booth count as well, the 59 to 65, and then the South Spoke, if we can, 6 to 12 booths. Opening day, we're just going to take it easy. We're going to have 55, give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room. That way we have space to place people and just extra space all around. So 55 there, and then each week as we identify more spots, then we'll add more people in there and find that comfortable range for the max occupancy. Let's see. So with the staggered arrival times, if vendors don't want to come a little bit earlier than they're used to, what we're offering them is they can walk their items in by parking in the lower garage below the Grove. And then there's an elevator there where they can walk their items into the Grove. Back in the good old days, everyone used to have to walk everything in. They weren't allowed to drive on the Grove at the beginning. So it's a normal thing for people to park under there and load up there. And some people might not want to come in their earlier slot time, so they might take advantage of that and just get there at 8:15. None of the booths are allowed to set up until 8:15, so there's plenty of driving space. And then at 8:15, the entrance and exits are closed off, and then everyone puts their booths up, similar to downtown. We have some vendor loading rules, just rules, some cardinal rules that they do not block the flow of traffic. Watching the staff for guiding traffic. We have 6 staff members, and then we'll also have board members that are helping direct traffic around the Grove and get people in and out to share the space. The other one of the rules that we're not going to break is that no parking on 9th Street, no parking on Main Street or Front Street. So that way that they're not obstructing any of the roads. They can come onto the Grove, unload, and then get out of there, or they can drive below in the parking garage and then load up from the elevator. And then the last one, let's see, I think I hit them all. altogether. I just want to talk a little bit more about the 9th Street. I had a few discussions with Kelly and with Debbie about the 9th Street. So just to clarify, this space that's highlighted in yellow and red, that area we won't be in. Near the Wells Fargo building is where the 3 parking spots where we queue up is. And then we pull right into the West Spoke, and then no one will be allowed, and we'll instruct them very clearly during our vendor training that no one is allowed to park on 9th Street, unload items onto the sidewalk. If they get there late, they'll go below and load up, or they can use our parking lanes to load onto a cart and then cart it in, but not leaving any items on the sidewalk to obstruct pedestrians or ADA. Same thing with Main Street. Our information booth is going to be located right on Main Street. So if anyone decides they want to pull into Main Street to load onto a spoke, we can kick them out of there pretty fast. There is a small portion on Front Street at the ICCU Arena where they have their event loading. I have a meeting directly following this with the ICCU Arena, and then we'll see if we could use that space for some of the South Spoke booths if possible. So we'll talk to him about that one. That would be the only parking on Front Street, is in that little cubby for loading. So emergency services, this big yellow bar here is the West Spoke where we can get fire, police, and EMS access. It will remain completely clear so they can drive into the center of the circle. And it's just the bollards that are there at the end. So those can come down and they can drive on and get to the center for any needs. And then we also have our safety and security plan with different evacuation points. So our office is that very top orange bubble. That's where our office is located, and there's a parking lot there. So that's kind of the space where everyone would evacuate to in case of emergency. All right, that is the bulk of the information. So I'll let you guys go around.
That's great. Thank you. We will go around the room, start with ACHD.
We don't have any issues. It's not in our right of way, and pedestrians are great.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Janelle, thank you for the email last week. Did you have a chance to order a dumpster? I haven't had a chance to look.
I haven't ordered it. No, I figured I'd get through this meeting and then place the order and then just reactivate our account from last year, get it placed over there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. You have a few weeks to get that done, so
Okay.
I'm not worried about it. I didn't realize you had an office building. What's the name of that?
It's the Sona building. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. You already have recycle there and everything. So.
Yeah, that's what we used last year as well. That's to put the recycling in there without the bags. And then we printed all the little signs and put them in there too.
Perfect. That's all I have. Let me know if you have any questions.
Okay.
Thanks.
Hello, Janelle.
Hello.
So I got your email in regards to the 3 parking spaces that you need on 9th. And I think that's going to work out really well if they're just waiting to come into the spoke on that side of the Grove Plaza. So I will email you back today with instructions on how to get that paid. And I think we'll be just fine. If you need some additional space in the future, like if the market starts growing and you need more staging, there's other meters there that we can block off for you too.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So we're set to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're good. We talked yesterday about a plan in case they pull in our area, so we're good.
Yeah.
And we have everything we need.
Perfect.
Parks is good for right now. Thanks.
Yeah, Heather informed me that you sent her the notification, so we're all set.
Great.
You know, we talked a little bit prior to this. A couple things from perspective of the fire department. On the north spoke there, you've got several tents. They look like they're positioned kind of close to the restaurants there.
Yeah, the patio.
So there are some patio expansions there that kind of come out a little ways.
Yes.
So wherever you place your tents there, the customers to those businesses have to have access to the public way. So we can't be blocking any of the gate exits or anything like that. So just make sure those are placed accordingly. This also is a little congested, and it makes us kind of nervous at Boise Fire, but I think it's doable. The other concerns I have, just, you know, there's a fire department connection over by the east alley right there on the corner of the building.
Okay.
We need to make sure that's completely clear. There's a fire hydrant also near the convention center that can't be blocked from vision. Make sure there's a good access to that. And I know you're going to be on top of this, but please make sure that that west spoke is always open. I mean, I know you're going to be loading and unloading through there, but
Yeah.
please don't let people park in there.
Right.
Keep that open at all times. I am going to submit this to our operations division. Although it's a little congested, I don't think they're going to have any major issues with it. But I will get back to you this afternoon after I do that, so I can get a quick answer back to you. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
From police perspective, don't worry about us having to drive into the spoke. We'd probably leave them. We're open for the fire and medics.
Okay.
So if we had to get in there, we'll just park outside and walk in most likely.
Okay.
We're just happy. I'm actually happy that you're not on the street because it takes away a lot of my safety concerns from the police perspective.
And the towing in
so,
the morning.
Yes. So I'm hoping this works out well for you on the Grove.
Okay. And what about the South Spoke? Do you think that's okay to put some booths there?
Yeah,
Whatever it works
again,
for Grove management.
I will leave it to fire and medics as far as
Okay.
gaining access into the spokes. I don't see a need for us to access it with vehicles per se.
Okay.
So from our perspective, we can walk into the
Okay.
situation.
Perfect.
Captain Tapper, can you just clarify when you do review this afternoon? Are you reviewing the South Spoke as well, the whole plan?
Yeah, I'm going to submit the whole thing to them and talk
Okay.
about each setup. So like I said, you have these positioned to the side. It looks like you're going to try to.
Yeah.
So keep with that plan. But again, I'm just going to submit this to the operations division.
Yeah.
And if they have any problems, I'll get back to you today.
Yeah. In the past, we would alternate from side to side and kind of zigzag it. This year, there can't be any canopies against the building or 10 feet off the building. So we're backed up against the patios, but we talked to each of the patio restaurant employees and made sure it was okay with them that we would be there. And then we'll leave the entrances to those patios open.
Like I said, I think we're okay.
Yeah.
We can stretch hose lines, I think, just about any location,
Okay.
even though it's congested. So
It will be busy.
Thank you. And then just a couple of other things. Last year, it was noted by, I can't remember if it was Public Works or the DBA, with the downtown trash and maintenance team. In prior years, they used to double bag the trash bins. And then it sounded like the market would remove the trash from, like take out the full one and then the empty liner would be under there. Is that still something you guys are doing this year? Is that a concern? Last year, that wasn't happening. The market was not.
For the city street trash cans that are on the
Yeah.
sidewalk. Okay.
So just a notation there, and I can circle an email. I just wanted to make sure to get something started to make sure if that needs to happen again, that we can address it.
I was going to say, I'll check with DMT and see where we're at with that. And
Okay.
I'll have Heather or I respond back and because I heard about this too, kind of at the end of last year.
Mhm.
We talked about it in one of our DMT meetings, so I'll touch back with that.
Okay, perfect. We just want to make sure it's clear for Boise Center's activities afterwards.
Yes.
And then just a couple of other events happening that day, the Race to Roby Creek, and then the Week of the Young Child is a festival fair happening at Julia Davis, but no concerns with overlap. So it should be a good day for you guys to start. The only other thing, you did send me your vendor list, so I appreciate you getting that to me. I apologize, I haven't had time to look at it, but I will be back in touch if there's any concerns there. And of course, if you guys need anything as you walk the space and meet with fire, please let me know because I'm happy to coordinate whatever I can.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll go ahead.
All right, Ed, anything on your end?
Good morning. I was just going to ask, so one, I will email you a vendor low waste guide that if you can electronically distribute to all your vendors just to help us and them reduce as much waste as possible, especially with the volume of folks that attend this event. I mean, it would be pretty huge. So, and then also, yeah, more on the same vein of the overflowing or however it was with the trash containers. Do you have enough trash boxes?
Boxes. We have the gray trash bins, as we have a bunch of those, probably about 15 of those. So
Perfect. Okay. Well, great. If you could just loop me in on that discussion to make sure that, yeah, if I can help out in any way or something with it, I'd be happy to. So, but that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Cameo.
Good morning. EMS should be good as well. I'll just piggyback off of what Jesse said, is make sure to keep those corridors open so that we can, if needed.
Great. Thank you, Camille.
I only have one more thing to add. It was just something that I talked with Summer about as a tentative plan we were hoping to get closer to 80 booths in the Grove, so that might have been a little too optimistic. So now with our final count and everything coming together, we did look at South 8th Street, and we talked before about using that one for the busy season in June, July, and August, and putting about 15 to 20 booths on South. Usually if it's about 22, getting around the different ADA access points, it'll probably end up being about 15 booths down that street. And one obstacle that we thought of was the barricades, and we wouldn't be able to move them easily. But walking over here, they've replaced the ones that were heavy, and now there's folding ones. So I think that might help out where it might work for South 8th Street. So that would be coming down the pipeline for later this year, if that's possible.
As far as the bollards, there are still permanent bollards that have to be raised and lowered with a key.
Yeah.
There are orange fencing just as a precaution with the road closed. Is that what you're referring to as the folding?
The fencing instead of the
so that is
the larger
supposed to be deployed across the street on all ends.
Yeah.
So if it happened to look like it was folded up or whatever, that's not the main barrier. So the bollards are still deployed, but that is something that we can talk about. We are looking at the possibility of events on 8th Street in general. So we'll have some more information forthcoming on that.
That sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Terrific. Thanks, Janelle.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, next up we have the Bogus Marathon. And before we have Rachel Moody. I see Rachel. We may have, in addition to that, so just a reminder that we've already had the safety and security meeting for the Bogus Marathon. There were several issues last year we wanted to get out ahead of. And I think out of that safety and security meeting, we've got some pretty specific deadlines to adhere to be able to ensure that this event can move forward and can move forward safely. So it looks like you committed to finalizing the traffic control plan with ACHD by the 1st of April, which is just amazingly the end of next week. Finalizing all the documents, including the route and the finish line with the clerk's office, Boise clerk's office by the 6th of April. The COVID-19 sign-off form by the 6th, and then emergency response briefing by the 18th. So just going to want to make sure that you're still on track with those deadlines. So if you could just touch on that as you go through your presentation, that would be fantastic.
Thank you. Yes, we are excited to bring back the Runtastic Bogus Marathon, and hopefully we've got everything kind of buttoned up and put together so that we don't encounter any of the issues that we had last year. I do have, it looks like there's 3 Rachel Moody's. There are not. Rachel and 2 Davids. We've got David Bell and David Wiley with us. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we will get, sorry, I should have had this up at the top. I want to, all right, this is not going to work the way I wanted it to. All right, we have the Runtastic Bogus Marathon. David Bell is our CEO and David Wiley is the race director. I am the operations manager, and so I'm the one that basically takes care of all of the permitting and everything behind the scenes. So we want to talk about the start line first. We are going to start at the top of Bogus Basin at Bogus Basin Resort, and we do have approval and a contract with Bogus Basin. And then we will have buses starting at Julia Davis, beginning at 4 a.m. to take runners up to the start line. Runners will be there by 5:30. There'll be porta potties, lights, music, and water available for the participants at the start. We will have cones will be placed down the middle of the road, just off center of the middle of the road, and runners will remain in the southbound lane of the road until they get to Paso Fino Road in Boise City, where it pulls out into that bike lane. We will have a sweeper vehicle, which is a 12-passenger van, and that will begin there at the marathon start and follow the last runner along the course until the course meets the green belt on Whitewater Park Drive. As far as I reached out to Boise County, and they do not require a mass gathering permit for gatherings under 150 people. Right now, we are not going to be hitting that. Our projections are not hitting that for the marathon start. The marathon is the only part that goes into Boise County. And because of that, I reached out to Boise County Sheriff and they said, if there's under 150 people, then the numbers are small enough. We don't have to have Boise County sheriffs there in that area. I asked if they would be willing to allow Ada County Sheriff into the area in case there was an emergency or anything. And they said that yes, it's fine for Ada County to respond to emergencies, but that they have no law enforcement authority in Boise County. And so if there's a criminal issue, then we will have to contact Boise County Sheriff or Idaho State Police. But at this point, we have permission from Boise County Sheriff to be able to do that. Here's just a map of this is what I'm going to do. I'm sorry, you guys. Where am I going? Sorry. Okay, this is going to be a lot easier. Half marathon start. Here is the half marathon start is about 3.5 miles up above the road closure from where the road will be closed at Paso Fino Road. And I've got the actual GPS location there. For the half, the buses are leaving the start area, the parking area, which get to in a minute. Around 4:30, all participants will be there by 5:50. They'll start approximately 5:15, and then all participants will be dropped off by 6 a.m. and 6:30. The race will begin. There we will have light towers, water, Powerade, goo, brand fuel, porta potties, minor first aid, and music at the start line. The race begins again at 6:30, and the area will be cleaned up and cleared out by noon, except the porta potties, which will be cleaned out, which will be picked up Monday after the race. So the first runners will be at this area around 6:30, and the last runner should be clear of that area by 9 a.m. With our time cap on the race. Bogus Basin Road. This is our first main road closure. Again, cones will be placed just off the center lane marker until the runners get to Paso Fino Road. And then they will merge from the southbound lane into the bike lane that goes along Bogus Basin Road. Cones will still be placed along the bike lane to separate the runners from traffic. And we will have one officer, Boise City officer, stationed just north of Paso Fino Road, where you can see the police there, to stop vehicles heading up the canyon as they wait for the pilot vehicles to bring them down. The pilot car that we have will actually be stationed there next to the police. And what will happen is as cars need to go up the canyon, the pilot car will actually will take them up the canyon until they're as far as they need to go till they turn off. The pilot car will then turn around, bring any cars down that need to come down, and then reverse the process. That way, we have the one lane open. And so as traffic is coming down, I'm sorry, the perils of working at home. As we have the one lane coming down, as we have the one lane coming down, the pilot car going up with additional cars. If anyone is coming down without the pilot car will be able to slow and control the speed of traffic so that they can pass safely as needed. And then a week prior to the event, we will have a message board that will be set up at this location, informing users of the road, the date and time and event, so that they have a heads up with the closure. The first runner should be coming by that area around 6:50 a.m. and the last runner will be at 9:55 a.m., which allows the Bogus Basin Road to open at 10 a.m. Bogus Basin and Hill Road, where we make that right-hand turn from Bogus Basin onto Hill Road. Runners remain in the coned off bike lane as they turn the intersection of Hill and Bogus Basin Road. The turn itself will be closed. We will have the turn closed and an officer, again, you can see the officer located right here, to guide people coming down Bogus Basin Road, turning right onto Hill Road through the intersection as opposed to that right-hand lane. First runners will arrive around 7 and the last runner will be through the intersection by 10:15. Hill Road and Girard Street, where we are making a left-hand turn, we will go from that northeast side of Hill Road and make the left-hand turn onto Girard Street. And on Girard Street, we will be following this, we will be on the south side of the road. In the neighborhood letter that we are sending out, we do specify that traffic will continue to flow during the race. Officers will be there to control traffic, but the roads will not be closed. So the officer will stop traffic, but they will not, the road will not be closed. So residents can expect possible slowing and delays, but no road closures. Again, first run around 7:05 and the intersection should be free by 10:30 a.m. We do have one question we'd like to pose to the committee with this particular section, Girard Street and 32nd Street. Again, we are just taking that right-hand turn onto 32nd Street. With this turn, we will have along 32nd Street, we will have volunteer flaggers. We have certified flaggers along the course, but we will have volunteer flaggers at all of the intersections here to help with traffic control. But we are wanting to inquire of the board which side of 32nd Street they would prefer we run on, because we are going to take a right-hand turn. The next is coming down 32nd Street and making a right-hand turn onto Irene Street. And so is it better with traffic flow to cross to the west side of the street here at Girard Street and proceed down 32nd Street on the west side so that we're not having to cross traffic here at Irene? Or would you propose the way we have it mapped here, which is using the east side of the street and then crossing at Irene as opposed to crossing at Girard? Does anyone have any preference?
I think that we ought to have the runners follow the rules of the road.
The runner should follow the rules of the road and run with traffic.
Run with traffic?
I'm sorry, run against traffic. The other thing is, please be careful on your verbiage because you're mixing certified flaggers and volunteer flaggers, and we will not allow volunteer flaggers to operate in the right of way. You can have volunteers.
Okay.
You can have certified flaggers, but I'm not going to allow volunteer flaggers just to be out in the right of way flagging down traffic because that's a hazard.
Okay, thank you. All right, so with that suggestion, we will go ahead and cross 32nd Street and proceed down. Nope. We will keep it this way. Sorry, going backwards. All right, so then at 32nd Street and Irene, we will move to the north side of the street on Irene Street, primarily to avoid traffic for the Jack in the Box there as people are coming in and out. We will have 2 certified flaggers and 2 officers here at the State Street intersection. Again, and also have cones limiting traffic down to 1 lane so that the officers have only 1 lane to control traffic as we move through the State Street intersection. The first runner should be through that intersection around 7:10, and the last runner should be through by 10:50 a.m. We have worked with the Idaho Transportation Department and have written permission from them to use this small section of their property to take the route through, just to help with the State Street crossings. And we will have an aid station here on the corner of Whitewater and Idaho Transportation Department to help with that turn onto Whitewater. And then again, participants will proceed down Whitewater Park Boulevard until they hit the green belt. And this is where our sweeper vehicle will be done, and participants will then we will have aid stations and volunteers along the green belt portion, as well as signage for runners at that point. So the first runner should come by that point around 7:15, and the last one will be around 11 a.m. Anything after that, the participants will be asked to leave the course. And then we have just the green belt to Julia Davis Park finished. They'll cross over the 9th Street Bridge past the Anne Frank Human Rights Memorial and proceed onto the green belt under Capitol Boulevard. Then they'll make the left turn onto Julia Davis Drive and a final right turn into the park to the finish line. We will have a volunteer and course markings to direct participants on these last couple turns. The finish arch, if on the finish line map here, the finish arch will be here outside of the Rotary. And then we will have a fenced off area for participants only for food and post-race things. We also have a small, our only tent will be a 10x10 pop-up tent for a music system, sound system right there at the finish line. Then we have rented the AG Ag Pavilion for the race. And if we have our vendor come through, which would be a post-race massages for the racers, they will be set up there. We will have the information inside the pavilion. We will have a photo opportunity, photo backdrop here. And we will have a backdrop set area where runners can pick up their bags that they dropped at the start. The dumpster will be placed at the end of this parking area. We will have the ambulance and EMTs here. Our timing trailer will be there, and our awards trailer will be parked there. We have cleared with summer on the dumpster location, as well as ensuring that the timing trailer stays on the asphalt, and that we will be allowed to have the trailer, the awards trailer there overnight. And then we will designate these no parking zones across from the zoo. And again, we're trying to keep the flow of the traffic this way, south of the Rotary and out of the Rotary, to allow the zoo traffic to be over there and to not interrupt that. Our medical plan, we will have an ambulance and EMTs at the road closure at Bogus Basin Road. So that's Paso Fino. And they will provide medical assistance and respond to any emergency calls on the course at 8. And so they will be there at 6 a.m. when the race starts. At 8 a.m., we will have them move to the finish line so that they can assist any people finishing the race. And then they will stay there for the duration of the race. and able to respond to calls along the course. And we have contracted with Victory Medical to have that in place. Aid stations are placed at miles 3, 5, 7, 9, the half marathon, 11, the half marathon start, 15, 17, 19, 21, 23, and 25. And volunteers will be in communication with our aid station supervisor there. The aid station supervisor will patrol the course during the event, rove through and check in with the aid stations with anything that they need and any issues or problems they have. And the aid stations will be cleaned up as the participants pass through. And so they will be kind of cleaned up as we go. In the half marathon, we do have contracted pacers that are there kind of as our eyes and ears on the course to help with any medical emergencies or anything like that. And they will be in communication with us as well. Then the officers that we have officers to aid in case of emergency. In case the ambulance is taking care of an emergency on course, we have notified other ambulance services of the event. If the ambulance is sent out, we will call a nearby fire station that is near the finish area of the race and roll from there. And we're contracted with Victory EMS. Busing. With the busing from the start of Julia Davis, again, we've worked with Summer to have parking allowed. It's very early in the morning to have parking allowed at Julia Davis. This is our picture of Julia Davis. So in the areas where we will have parking for the full marathon, and buses will pick up participants here. And so we've got that taken care of with Summer for the early morning parking. And then the RMH properties over here, we have contracted with them to be able to have the bus loading and parking for the half marathon and any supporters there in the RMH parking lot. And we do have that contract signed already. Timeline, just going through the timeline. Friday, we have our packet pickup at Shoes Idaho Running Company from 1 to 6 p.m. And on Friday, we will park the awards trailer at Julia Davis and have porta potties set up along the course for the aid stations. The dumpsters will be delivered to Julia Davis, and then we will ensure that all the barricades and things are placed out and properly prepared for the morning. Saturday at 3 a.m. is when we will begin to unload the trailer at Julia Davis. We will prep the parking areas to ensure that the no parking zones are enforced, set up the bus loading areas. We spoke to Summer. Typically we set up Friday evening, but because of an event there at the park, we will be unable to do that. So we will drop the trailer, but we will not begin setting up until Saturday morning. And so we'll start setting up Saturday morning at 4 a.m. to 5:15. We'll have bus loading and optional bib pickup for marathon and half runners. 5:45 to 6, we will ensure that all the flaggers are in place, communicate with officers to ensure that they are in place and ready, and with the EMTs so that we are good to go for our 6 a.m. start. And then 6 a.m. the marathon starts, 6:30 the half, 7:40 to 7:45 is when the first runner should come through the finish line. 10 a.m. Bogus Basin Road opens. 11 is when the final runners proceed onto the green belt. So all roads will be open at that point. And then noon is when we have our cutoff for runners to finish the race. And then we will have final cleanup from noon to 2, and we should be out of the park by 2. This is just an overview of our aid stations. We'll have water, Powerade, garbage cans. We do have our own garbage cans that we will be providing, and we will be clearing trash from the aid stations and taking them to the dumpster at Julia Davis. And we will have at least one porta potty at each aid station. Again, they'll be staffed by volunteers, and they will be in contact with the aid station manager or the course manager. And then there are a few places we will have goo, and they will have a small med kit, just Band-Aids kind of things, if anyone needs that. And that is all. Hopefully, I think I've gone over most everything. Is there any? I think I've got everything, but yeah, if you want to go around the room and I would be happy to answer any further questions.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. And welcome back, David and David. We'll go ahead and go around the room. It's a very comprehensive presentation. So thank you for that. John and Debbie.
You go first.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
Couple of items. First is, make sure you get us the new traffic control plan. And have you picked your traffic control company yet?
Yes. We are working with Utah Barricade. They used to have an office up in Boise, and so they have resources and contacts up in Boise, and they are actually going to be doing that for us. And they have provided us TCPs. However, there were a few things that we needed to correct on the TCPs, and so I didn't want to submit them to you. He wasn't able to get them to me yesterday, and so I didn't want to give them to you wrong just to have them corrected. So
sure, I appreciate that. The other thing is we're not going to be actually closing Bogus Basin. We're going to be running a pilot car, correct?
You're right. I did say that wrong. There is a pilot car. The one lane will be open, and the pilot car will be directing traffic up and down the road.
And all the side streets, they're not actually closed. We're not going to make it where the residents can't get in and out. There'll be volunteers or somebody on the side streets to hold them until the pilot car comes, correct?
Correct. That is in our resident letter that we will be sending out to them.
Okay. Your message board for town needs to be at curling so that people know before they're committed to going up and getting stuck. So make sure that
so it needs to be at curling the week before as well.
Yeah.
And okay.
Yeah, let them know in advance. Yeah, would be perfect.
And then on that morning to have the barricade company change the message board to traffic control ahead. Please wait for pilot car or something to that nature.
Yeah, I would say pilot car ahead.
Okay.
Be prepared for delays type thing.
Okay.
I don't have the exact wording. So
we'll leave that to the professionals.
At Hill and Garrett, so we're not going to have any street closures in that. You already took care of the residential areas. The intersection at State where ITD is.
Yes.
You're going to have arrow boards restricting it down to one lane in each direction on State Street before the police officers.
Yes, if just because that will help with traffic control.
Yeah.
Going through that section. It'll help traffic slow down a little bit for the officers to prepare for the runners.
Perfect. I'll see what John has.
Give me 1 second, sorry.
Are Utah Barricades licensed and bonded with ACHD? That'll be one question that we'll have to resolve to make sure that they can actually do the work up here. From our perspective, and more from Rachel's perspective, because she's not here, do you have a runner timeline? So as an example, runners start at 6 a.m. at the top. They'll be at Paso Fina. The first runner will be at Paso Fina by 6:37, something on that order, so that we and the police and emergency management know where the runners are going to be generally at any given time.
Absolutely. I had those times on the presentation through the different intersections. And if that is something you would like me to put down in a specific Word document with the times and everything, I would be more than happy to do that and to get that to you or officers and everyone, whoever needs it, to ensure that they have the proper timeline for the runners.
I think that would be handy. Also probably for the mayor's office, because most of the complaints will come in through either ACHD, the police, or into the mayor's office. The final thing is we will fully support, would hope that the police will ensure that the race does not start in Ada County until all of your flaggers and personnel are in place, and the police have actually verified that.
Absolutely.
We've had problems with that before.
Right. With our time, and in order to try to prevent those issues, that is why we have specified that at 5:45 we will have someone ready to be able to drive the course those few miles through the city, to ensure that flaggers and volunteers are there and ready to go, so that when the police check in with everything at 6 a.m. that people are there and ready to go, and that we don't have an issue with that.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hi, Rachel. Conrad with Republic Services.
Hi, Conrad.
So have you ordered dumpsters yet?
I have a reservation through Republic Services.
Okay, thank you. Do you remember what size they are?
I want to say 8. We're just doing one dumpster because of the number of people that we are expecting at this point. We should be fine with one 8-yard dumpster.
Okay. You mentioned Summer signed off on the location. Are you comfortable, Summer, with the size of the dumpster? Okay, good. Well, we're good there. I'll just double check, make sure that has been properly entered on our end.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, what about the 2 start lines up at Bogus and then the half marathon? Is there trash collections? I saw you pointed out at the aid stations, but is there also trash plans in place up at Bogus and the half marathon?
Absolutely. Again, with our, I apologize for not specifying that. That's just kind of our normal routine with races. And so it's something we're used to doing. We have a number of like the 30-gallon utility garbage cans that we set up at start lines. And then we actually have an aid station trailer that hauls all of our equipment for the aid stations. And what we do is we load the trash into our trailer. So we clean out the garbage cans, put all the trash into our aid station trailer, and transport it down to Julia Davis, and we'll dispose of it there in the dumpster at Julia Davis.
Okay, great. Thank you. And one more thing, you mentioned having sweepers. Are they sweeping for people? Or are they sweeping for trash, or both?
Yeah. In running world terms, we will have a sweeper vehicle that just basically is the last person to come through. They will be driving a vehicle to transport runners that may need to stop or drop out of the race for some reason, that need medical or any other kind of help, to be able to transport them. And so they will not be on foot specifically looking for trash, but in a sweeper vehicle, that's kind of when you're going 3 miles an hour down a canyon, that's pretty much all you do is take a look out for trash and hang out with the people at the back. So.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if people are drinking their cups of water at the stations and or if they're taking the water with them and they run and then just toss the cup on the street. So we don't want that to happen. And if it does, we'd like it picked up.
Our aid station volunteers are typically instructed to go about 100 yards past the aid station to look for trash and cups, because sometimes they will actually throw their cup in the garbage can, and sometimes they take it with them for a little bit and then toss it off to the side. So our aid station volunteers are instructed to have to do that 100-yard search after each aid station to look for stray trash.
Okay, yep, just as long as you're aware of it. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
Hi, Rachel. This is Vince from City of Boise Parking, and we don't have any concerns. It seems like you guys have everything set up inside of Julia Davis Park and at the top of Bogus Basin. So we have no concerns for you.
All right. Thank you.
Hi, this is Leslie with Valley Regional Transit. I'll just wait for the traffic control plan to see what we're going to do at State and Irene, because that'll interfere with our routes.
Okay.
Hi, Rachel. This is Sydney with Risk Management. We've got everything we need.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Rachel. It's Summer. Hey, thanks for going through everything with me yesterday one more time. I know the shift
You're
from
welcome.
ESU to Julia Davis was a lot of questions on my end. So we'll get you your overnight pass for your trailer so we can meet ahead of that when you guys drop it off, so you can put it on your trailer, and then we'll do the no-tow and all those things. So if you have questions along the road as we get closer, go ahead and let me know. But thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Rachel. This is Andre with the DBA. If you have a community notification for Julia Davis, if you wouldn't mind sending that over to us, we don't need it for any specific people. It's just kind of have a confirmation that something was sent out. And you can send that to either Heather Lyle or myself, Andre Womack, just over at Downtown Boise Association. Thank you.
Hi, Rachel. This is Jesse with Boise Fire. I have no additional questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, this is Sergeant Kamalink with Boise Police. Just had a couple questions regarding your diagram. You show, at this point, you show 6 stationary police locations. I was staffing based upon last year's race, and I only have 2 stationary. The rest were covered by flaggers, specifically the intersections of Hill and Bogus, 32nd and Hill, and then I think at the pilot car and then down on State, with officers only stationed permanently at the pilot car and State Street. Am I correct in you're going off that I'm supposed to go off last year's kind of plan, or did you want stationary officers in those locations? Just because if you want stationary officers in the locations, all the locations you have specified, I'm gonna have to revise the agreement. But just confirm you have certified flaggers at those locations and not just police. Does that make sense? Sorry, I kind of rambled on.
Yes. The intersection of Hill and Girard, and I may need to go with Wiley, but it looks like if we have certified flaggers and the police are only requiring those 2 stationed officers, then we are fine with the certified flaggers and we can go off of what was done last year.
Okay, yeah, so I just want to confirm you got certified flaggers at those locations, because the only issues with where I had to station officers were at the pilot car and on State Street, because of those are the locations with the most irate, I guess, traffic goers. And the others are just Rove assisting with other issues that happen within the race event, and then any issues that happen to those that the other traffic location spot. But as long as we're on the same page, I'm good.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Rachel. This is Kelly. Thank you for sending the information over this morning. I apologize. I did not get the neighborhood notification reviewed or sent out. So that will be forthcoming, and we can discuss that with Andre, DBA, and then just the rest of the group to ensure that our neighbors up on Bogus Basin Road get that in a timely manner. That will come after your traffic control plan is approved, just so we don't have to go back and make any changes or try and reiterate information and confuse people in that regard. So it looks like on your website, you have the half marathon loading at a different location. Is that correct?
Correct. Like I said in the presentation, the half marathon loading, we have contracted with RMH Parking, which is just north across Capitol Street. There's a business park right there. can't remember the exact name of it right now.
That's
but
okay. I see it off of River Street. So I just wanted to
Okay.
ensure that if you
Yeah,
could
we've
send-
contracted with them. And since the majority, we have a smaller group of marathon runners, they should be able to park at Julia Davis and we can pick up busing there. And then we will instruct half marathoners and spectators to park over at RMH in that parking area. And our buses will pick up there in that area just to help participants so they don't have to walk as far.
Okay, perfect. Do you mind forwarding me that confirmation? Just stating that you did have the contract in place for that parking area?
Yep, absolutely.
Perfect. I know Summer's managing the Julia Davis one, so that's great. I think that's the only thing I have right now. Obviously, as Maria mentioned at the beginning, we had the safety and security meeting. We've been in touch, throughout with the various aspects. So we appreciate your guys' communication. But the key point is having that traffic control plan into ACHD. They may have some revisions, questions, comments, et cetera. But we do want that solidified with them by the 1st. So I appreciate you trying to get them a final copy to the best of your ability, but we do want to make sure we get that wrapped up and then we can fill in the blanks from there.
Absolutely. I should have the finalized copies with our corrections by this afternoon.
Okay. That sounds great. I'll watch for that. And please feel free to send anything to me to disperse to the team. If that's easier, I can just do it, upload it to them in our folder and email it along so they have it in front of them. So you don't have to worry about forgetting someone on the email.
Yeah.
And of course, if you need anything else, please don't hesitate to call or email me.
Okay. Thank you, Kelly.
Rachel, I have just one question before we go to the folks online, which is, have you touched base with the Ada County sheriffs to make sure that they know that they will be the ones potentially to answer Boise County calls?
Yes, I have. Well, and they won't be answering the calls. It will only be if there's an emergency with any participants kind of thing, as long as it's a non-criminal issue, they will be there to assist and help. And Boise County has given us permission, and Ada County is aware of, and they are planning on sending one roving officer for their section between where Boise City actually ends and Boise County. And then anything we may need in Boise County.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, Ed.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I just had a quick question for you. So on your application, you did stated boxes is something that could be recycled with your event. Can you just speak more to like where that's going to be generated and how many boxes and how we can actually get those to like a recycling dumpster?
The boxes that we have will actually come from medals and t-shirts, which will all be at the finish line. And so we typically have a stack of boxes. Again, it depends on participants and how many sizes they can fit into one box or whatnot. I would say we probably will have maybe 10 to 15 typical cardboard box size boxes, and that would be about all.
Okay. Can you just ensure that you can get those to a recycling dumpster instead of just putting them in the trash?
Absolutely. If necessary, we can even we have recycling down here that we use, and we can bring them back here as well.
Okay, great. I think that's all I have. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Cameo?
Good morning. I just have a couple in the medical plan. And you may not know them. We may have to get this information from Victory, but I would like to know how they're planning on getting a runner off the road if they're going to park at Bogus Basin Road and they have an injury or a medical up there, how do they plan on getting that runner off? Meaning, do they have ATVs, or are they going to take the ambulance up there? So I kind of like to know their medical plan on how they're going to deal with the 911 system if they do have a medical or an injury. So if we could get their plan and their communications plan on how they're going to communicate with you as well as with 911, mainly because once you get up to the top up there, you usually lose cell service and radio. So I'd like to know what their communication plan is and how they're planning on getting a runner off if they have an injury.
From what I remember in the safety and security meeting, they talked about having 1 or 2 channels open. And so basically our procedure would be, once we see it, whether it's a sweeper vehicle, a pacer, or aid station managers or volunteers, once we see someone who needs medical help, we would contact the roving officer. And our aid station supervisor will be in contact with the roving officer, and then the roving officer would then communicate down to the officer that will be there next to Victory at the stop point there at Paso Fino.
Okay.
And then and then they would just drive up, because we're going to be on the road. They would have the ability, if that is their plan, to be able to just drive the ambulance up.
Okay, so we would like to see Victory's medical plan and their communication plan. And then also on your medical plan, you had mentioned contacting the nearest fire station. So that wouldn't work in the plan. We all run off the 911 system. So I would just change that to contacting just 911 in general. And taking out contacting the nearest fire station.
Okay. And should I have Victory, once we get that medical plan and communication plan, would you prefer that be sent directly to you or to Kelly?
You can send it to Kelly and she'll upload it for us.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you so much, you guys.
You're welcome. Thank you for hosting us, and we are so excited. I'm really excited about this race. This is obviously my first year working with Runtastic, and I have told both of these Davids that I am so excited to run this race because I've seen the videos and I've seen the views and everything. I've threatened to quit a few days before the race just so I can run the race. I'll have to work it so I can actually run the marathon course, because it is just beautiful. And I am very excited to bring this event to Boise.
Thanks so much. Kelly will be back in touch, and we'll look forward to having a really successful event this year.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks. All right, we have just one event right around the corner where we're still have some pending approvals. I'm just going to go through who I think we are waiting on. ACHD, do you have everything you need to be able to sign off on Boise Farmers Market?
Yes, it's not within our right of way, so we really don't have an issue with it.
Okay. Sydney?
Yes, I've signed off.
Okay. Yeah, Boise Fire.
I do. I'll be signing off today.
Great. Ed, Public Works?
Yes, I signed that off.
Okay. Conrad?
I need to check again. They said that they're going to use Bitter Creek's dumpsters, and I don't have any account or service under the name Bitter Creek. So I just need more specifics on where they're taking their trash and recycle.
Great. Thank you. And Cameo.
Yes, I'll be sending that off.
Great. Thanks so much. And then we've got a couple of after action reviews. Just to remind everybody, Cupid's Undie Run, get your thoughts and after action items in to Kelly, and the Blue Sky basketball block party. And then anything else, Kelly, that I forgot?
No, that's perfect. Thank you. Obviously, we all know today is Tree Fort Day. So we have that going on this weekend, along with the Boise Brewing Tree Fort Street Party. And that will round us off. Let's see, yeah, for the end of the month through March, and then April, I think we'll be every weekend having something going on. So.
All right. Well, thanks, everyone. We'll see you in a couple weeks.